What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So the UFC is back this Saturday night. UFC Fight Night, Mackenzie Dern versus Amanda Ribas 2. It's the second time these ladies have fought. First one was back in 2019. I admit, I kind of wish they would have just waited another week and then we get all of the excitement of the Islam versus Sarukian card. First, they have to hit us with this one where it's like, But hey, I'm a true fan. I am one of those people that I watch every event regardless. Now, there are times where I'll fall asleep. I'll get up and watch it the next day if it's not one that I'm really excited about because I'm an old guy. I have trouble when it's one of those late fights where the main card doesn't even come on till 10 o'clock. Man, sometimes I can't stay up till 1 o'clock. I just can't do it anymore. But either way, this one I will definitely be watching. The main card is Uros Medish versus Puna Soriano. Uros Medish is 10-2 overall, 8 wins by knockout, 2 wins by submission, 7 first-round finishes. So you got 12 fights overall, 8 wins by knockout, 7 of those are first-round finishes. That kind of lets you know. This guy's coming in there to finish you. He did win his last fight over 10 means, TKO in the first round. He lost his fight before that to, is it Orobai? He actually got submitted in the second round on that one. Won his fight before that against Samuelsberger, KO, TKO. Samuelsberger's a tough guy himself, so the fact that he was able to TKO, KO him, that's a good sign. So Medish has won 3 out of his last 4. So he's on a pretty good tear. He did lose to Jalen Turner, if you want to take it that far back. That was a round 1 submission. So Puna Soriano, he's 10-4 overall, 6 wins by knockout, 2 wins by submission, 7 first-round finishes. His last fight against Baeza, he won by decision. Before that, Stoltzfus, he actually lost to Stoltzfus by submission in second round. Before that, he lost against Roman Kopylov, which is KO, TKO second round. Roman Kopylov is actually on this card as well, so I'm really excited for his fight. So between these two guys, I'm gonna honestly have to go with Uros Medish. He's tall for this division, 6'1". They're both southpaws. Uros has a nasty left high kick, lots of knees up the middle, a good left body kick. I've seen him hurt guys with that left body kick to the liver. He likes the 3-2, the lead hook, then straight. Quick and aggressive with strikes. He's got a good triangle finish on the ground, good diversity of strikes. And Puna Soriano, I mean, he's mainly a striker. He's got a little ground game, does have a nasty overhand left, but I think the problem for him in this fight is he's a little bit too one-dimensional for Medish. Puna likes to push guys up against the fence, and he will grab guys' legs and, throw them down like a double leg sort of thing. But he's just a little bit too one-dimensional for me. Uros Medish is a very, very talented striker, and the diversity of his attack, I see that being a problem for Puna here, or Puna Hele, excuse me. Damn these names, Puna Hele. If you say it a whole bunch of times, you'll eventually get it right. Anyway, I think that Uros Medish, it just has too much diversity in his attack. I mean, he goes high, he goes low, he goes to the body. He's also got good striking, good boxing. I think the only chance that Puna Hele has here is to try to maybe get Medish up against the fence, try to stifle that offense a little bit, because I do believe that if Puna Hele kind of stands on the outside and lets Medish do his thing, I don't think that's going to end well for him. I see him getting KO, TKO'd, and that's actually how I'm going to call it. Let's go KO, TKO, third round, Uros Medish. Moving on up the card, Austin Bashi versus Christian Rodriguez. Now, this is going to be a banger of a fight right here, okay? Austin Bashi is actually undefeated, 13-0, 3 wins by knockout, 5 wins by submission, 3 first-round finishes. And I do believe this is actually his first fight in the UFC. So if moving on over to moving on over to his opponent, Christian Rodriguez. He's 11-2 overall, 3 wins by knockout, 4 wins by submission, 5 first-round finishes. If you look, he actually lost his last fight to Erosa by submission in the first round. Before that, he won his fight against Dolgarian. He won his fight against Cameron Simon. And before that, he beat Rosas Jr. So he's actually the first guy to give the prodigy Rosas Jr. a loss in the UFC, and that was via unanimous decision. So Austin Bashi, I mean, these are shorter guys. They're featherweight. He's only 5'6", but he's mainly a grappler. You can tell he has a wrestling background. Really, really quick double leg, and it's one of those two where he'll shoot from way far out, and you can tell by the depth and how low he gets that he's been trained pretty extensively in wrestling. He does have a good high kick. Decent kickboxing, but he's one of those guys that he won't get in a firefight. He's kind of, 2, 3 punches at a time sort of thing, and then he'll either move his way out of the pocket or, a punch or two, and then he's ducking under trying to get you down. He's definitely more comfortable on the ground. And I just think that is probably where he's going to want to keep this fight, because Christian Rodriguez, he's got a good left jab, a good slip right, then straight. He's got a really good Darce choke, well-rounded, good jiu-jitsu, got good arm triangles. He's a guy coming off the Contender Series. The problem with Christian Rodriguez is he missed weight quite a lot at bantamweight, to a point where they were finally like, dude, you're freaking going up. I don't know if his team decided it or if it's something that the UFC decided, but he was missing weight quite often at bantamweight. So now seems like he's found a home at featherweight where he's more comfortable. So I'm glad to see that, because I hate seeing these guys come in and continue to miss weight. I mean, it just looks super unprofessional, and it's not fair to the opponent either. But Christian Rodriguez is good, man. He's got really good jump knees, really good anaconda choke. I saw him beat a guy with that. Again, he's the first guy to give Rosas Jr. a loss back in 2023. This is actually a very tough one to pick. My first instinct is to go with Christian Rodriguez, but Austin Bashi, this guy's undefeated, 13-0. And a lot of times when these guys are undefeated like this, there's something to that. There's some sort of X factor that they have that really gives guys trouble. And Austin Bashi is kind of his grappling, his wrestling specifically is what worries me for Christian Rodriguez. Christian Rodriguez has good jiu-jitsu, but there's a difference in jiu-jitsu and in the wrestling. Jiu-jitsu guys don't really take guys down that much. If they're rolling around on their backs or they're rolling in jiu-jitsu class, okay, fair enough. But this isn't jiu-jitsu class. This is MMA, where people can do blast double legs, take you down. People can push you up against a cage, pull your legs out from under you that way. I think Austin Bashi is just a stronger guy. I mean, you can just tell by the look of him that he's, more compact, more stout. He appears to be a stronger individual. I think he's going to be trying to take Christian Rodriguez down, and I think it's going to be one of those things where he may not be able to finish Christian Rodriguez, but it's one of those where his offense is going to stifle any offense of Christian Rodriguez. And I don't think Christian Rodriguez is going to be able to keep Bashi from taking him down. And I think he's just going to weigh on him, wear on him, pull on him, kind of get some shots in, some ground and pound shots in when he can. And I just don't see Christian Rodriguez being able to get over on this guy. So I'm going to pick Austin Bashi by unanimous decision. I'm going to say that he stays undefeated here. Next fight, this is going to be a banger. We got Roman Kopylov versus Chris Curtis. Now, I like Chris Curtis. Obviously, Chris Curtis is a guy that trains out there with Sean Strickland, but I think he could be in trouble here with Roman Kopylov. Kopylov's 13-3 overall, 11 wins by KO. Let that sit in for a minute. 11 wins by KO. 16 fights overall, 11 wins by KO, and 2 wins by decision. So that lets you know he's trying to get you out of there. Okay? He's trying to finish you. That's what Roman Kopylov is in there for, is to try to finish guys, right? Then you have Chris Curtis. I mean, he's one of those guys that's a veteran. I mean, 42 total fights, 31 and 11. I know I already mentioned he trains out there with Sean Strickland. He is a boxer through and through. 17 wins by KO, only one win by submission. And when I say boxer, I mean literally, he was a boxer, like professional and amateur boxing, and it shows in his style. When it comes to the striking, especially in the pocket sort of striking, you can just see the difference in him and other guys that he's up against. I mean, he's got really good slips and body shots. He eats guys up to the body. It's one of those things where if Roman Kopylov was willing to stand in the pocket with a guy like Chris Curtis, I'd give it to Chris Curtis all day. But he's obviously not going to do that, and I think that's where Chris Curtis could run into problems. Now, Chris Curtis lost his last fight to Allen. That was a very, very close fight, split decision. For that, Curtis has a win over Barriault. That was actually a good win for him because Barriault is a tough dude. And then before that, had a fight against Imavov where he could not continue. Before that, he lost to Kelvin Gastelum. No shame in that, but it just kind of goes to show you that Chris Curtis is one of those guys that he's a little bit one-dimensional. You know, his strength is definitely the boxing. If you look at these two fighters, Roman Kopylov has excellent striking. He's always looking for the KO. Great high kick. I mean, this guy's got spinning heel kicks, left high kick, finishes to the body with a left kick. I've seen him put people out with liver kicks. Really good boxing and a really, really good pace. I mean, he's always coming at you. So Chris Curtis is going to be on his heels in this fight. And like I said, Chris Curtis has great boxing. Don't get me wrong. If this was a phone booth sort of fight where they were standing there together in the pocket, only trading hands, I'd have to go with Chris Curtis. But this is MMA, and there's kickboxing in MMA. And I just think that Roman Kopylov is going to stay on the outside, use those long-range weapons, that high kick, that kick to the body, the low kicks. I think for the most part, he'll be able to stay away from anything really dangerous of Chris Curtis. I think he'll be smart enough not to get in a phone booth and trade blows with Chris Curtis. And I just think that Kopylov's going to end up winning that fight. I mean, Chris Curtis has got 42 total fights in the UFC, so he's an absolute grizzled veteran. So I'm going to say that Kopylov's not able to finish him, but that he's going to win via unanimous decision. Moving on up the card, Abdul Razak Alisan versus Cesar Almeida. Alisan is 12-6 overall, 12 wins by KO. There you go again, 18 fights overall, 12 of them by KO. He's not coming in to pitter-patter, okay? He's a very jacked, stout guy for the middleweight division. 11 first-round finishes, so he's one of those guys that comes in swinging hard and fast, man. He's trying to get you out of there quick. He's trying to have an early night. This guy does not bother with takedowns. I mean, he has a total of 13 takedowns attempted. He's not trying to take you down unless maybe he gets hurt or something, and he's trying to, postpone the damage a little bit. That's the only time I've ever seen him take anybody down. Could not continue in his last fight against Cody Brundage. I'm not sure what went on there. I can't remember exactly what happened, but he lost a submission by second round to Joe Pyfer. Before that, Joe Pyfer's a beast. There's no shame in that. Ribeiro, before that, he beat Ribeiro KO, TKO, second round. Before that, had a loss to Joaquin Buckley. He's lost 2 out of his last 4 fights, and then one of them against Brundage, he could not continue. And looking at Cesar Almeida 6-1 overall. That is just MMA, though, because this guy comes from Glory Kickboxing, so he has a very extensive kickboxing record. But in MMA, he's only 6-1. 4 wins by knockout. Again, 7 total fights. Over half of them are by knockout. And he's got 3 first-round finishes. His last fight against Potiera, he beat him by decision, unanimous. Almeida and Kopylov had a fight early this year in January 2024, and Kopylov won by split decision. So you know how I was glazing Kopylov a few minutes ago for being such a good striker. Well, Cesar Almeida and Kopylov had a beautiful striking war together. I remember that fight specifically. That fight stands out to me. It's been a year since they fought, and I can still remember that fight because it was so good, so high level, so especially in terms of the kickboxing. These guys were just really going at it. Before that, he beat Budka, KO TKO, second round. So this is one of those where I do believe that Cesar Almeida is going to have to go into kind of a survival mode for the first round. Razak Alisan, again, very short, very compact. When he throws, he looks like he's trying to hit the ball out of the park every time he throws. So he's one of those guys that if he clips you, if he catches you with your hands down, it could be lights out. It could be night over. Okay. But I do think that Cesar Almeida, having that glory kickboxing background, I think he will be the more technical guy on the feet. I think for the most part, he should be able to stay pretty safe. And, Abdul Razak Alisan is one of those guys, like I said, well muscled for that division. But when you have that combination of being a really buff, well muscled guy, you're used to getting first round knockouts, you're throwing everything 110% into every shot. Those guys have got about a 5-minute limit. And then anytime after that, second, third round, a lot of times they kind of start to slow down a little bit. Their punches aren't nearly as dangerous. They're coming at you slower. They tend to get more sloppy. They start to drop their hands more, stuff like that. So I see Cesar Almeida kind of surviving the onslaught for the first round of Alisan, and then on the second round, third round, kind of starting to take over, kind of starting to chip away at Alisan a little bit. I don't know if he'll be able to get him out of there because Alisan's got a pretty good chin. He can take a punch pretty well, and Cesar Almeida's going to have to be careful. He can't just go in there just guns a-blazing because Razak Alisan can put you out if you're not paying attention. So he just may surgically pick him apart over throughout the second and third round. And then let's say Alisan maybe wins the first round, and then Cesar Almeida gets the second and the third round strong and wins a unanimous decision. So I'm going to go with Cesar Almeida. Unanimous decision on that one. Moving on up the card, we got Carlon Harris versus Santiago Ponzinibbio. This one right here, Carlon Harris, he's 19-6 overall. He has a really good record, but he's one of those guys where I can't really figure out how or why. I think maybe he just hasn't had a really good strength of schedule. 5 wins by knockout, 6 wins by submission, 6 first-round finishes. He's mainly a grappler guy. I watched quite a few of his highlights, and he spends a lot of time in the clinch, trying to push guys up against the fence, trying to drag them down to the mat, to where he can get them down there and have his way with them. The problem is if he can't get you down there, he's not one of those guys that is really, really dangerous on the feet. He's kind of a slender, skinnier guy for that division. He doesn't have an extreme amount of power either. And then the way he throws his punches, you can tell that striking is not his bread and butter. So he's just one of those guys that he hits you, but it's just kind of like, oh, okay, well, I don't want to let that happen again, sort of thing. But it's nothing that is night ending. I mean, he's got 5 wins by knockout. To be fair, 25 fights overall, but you're looking at, only 1/5 of his fights into knockout. So he's not like a major knockout artist or anything like that. Predominantly a grappler. He lost his last fight to Chaos Williams. That was KO TKO in the first round. He won his fight before that over, I think it was Jeremiah Wells. Yeah. Before that, he beat Gooden. That was a unanimous decision. Before that, he lost to Rachmanov. You look over at Santiago Ponzinibbio. This guy is a grizzled veteran. 30-8, 38 total MMA fights. 16 wins by knockout, 6 by submission, 14 first-round finishes. So Ponzinibbio is coming after your ass, okay? Now, he did lose his last fight against Silikov. No shame in that. Silikov is a kung fu karate specialist, really, really good with the strikes, and that was a split decision, so it was really, really close. And if you're a person that can go in there with Silikov and get a close split decision, you're doing your thing. You're a tough fighter because Salikov is very, very high level and technical on his feet. Before that, he took a loss to Kevin Holland, third round KO TKO. Again, that hasn't aged extremely well, but, Kevin Holland is a guy that has a lot of experience. He's very tall for that division, got good, clean boxing, also Kung Fu, kind of a Kung Fu specialist there. So, I mean, it hasn't aged extremely well, but it hasn't aged extremely bad either. It's not like Kevin Holland's a complete scrub, Before that, he had a win over Alex Morono, the guy that looks like he couldn't beat up a fifth grader, but he's actually pretty decent. So he's lost his last couple of fights, Ponzinibbio, so he's going to be looking to come in there going hard. Actually, he lost his fight before that too to Michel Pereira. Yeah, so he's actually, damn, I didn't realize that. Lost 3 of his last 4 fights. Yeah, so Ponzinibbio is going to be coming in there for blood, man. He's going to be coming in there trying to get Carlston Harris out of there. I think this is a good rebound fight for Ponzinibbio. I think that he's going to be able to kind of shuck off Carlston Harris, the grappling of Carlston Harris. I do think that Carlston Harris is going to be looking to grapple. Carlston Harris has a good anaconda choke, good clinch, good body lock sort of throws, pull guys' bodies into them and then sweep the legs out and drop them down. Saw him do that a few times on his highlights. He's relentless in the clinch, like I said, keeping the head and body into opponent's chest until he can maybe grab the legs and like drag them down. His striking, again, it's okay. I wouldn't say it's really high level. He's more one of those guys that he's looking more to stifle your offense than he is really putting in his own offense. Now, I'm not saying that, grappling, clinching is not a form of offense. It is, but there's just not a lot of damage base offense. Not with certain guys. I mean, some guys can, make the clinch dangerous with, elbows on the break and, body shots while they're clinched up, knees up the middle, that sort of thing. But he's not really that guy. He's kind of the guy that's just clinching as a means to an end to try to hope to like push you up against the fence, sweep your feet out from under you, or grab your legs, get you on the mat so he can kind of keep you from doing what you're going to do. He doesn't really have a high finish rate or anything like that. I think Santiago Ponzinibbio is going to be the stronger guy in this fight. He's had a really, really good killer pace. He's really good at swarming guys. Like if he sees that he's got a guy hurt, he will come in there, guns a-blazing, ready to put guys out. He can grapple, but he really doesn't like to use it. He does have 6 wins by submission, got strong leg kicks, really hurt Magny bad with a leg kick in there. I mean, he hurt Magny so bad with the leg kicks, you could almost call that the finish. I mean, Magny was literally hobbling around the octagon on one leg, and then, of course, Ponzinibbio came in and caught him with an overhand right. That's what actually finished Magny. But it was absolutely the low leg kicks that set it up. So he's got really massive low leg kicks. I just don't think Carlston Harris is going to be able to keep Ponzinibbio in the clinch. I think Ponzinibbio is going to be able to kind of shuck off the clinch and the grappling game of Harris. And then Harris is going to be stuck on the feet with a guy that's got really, really good pace, very decent boxing, kickboxing. I mean, he's not like otherworldly like these, glory kickboxing guys, but he's good. He's good. And he's a guy that doesn't get tired. He's a guy that just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes from bell to bell. So I think Ponzinibbio, I'm not sure if he'll finish Carlston Harris because Carlston Harris has a lot of experience. And like I said, he's always working for the clinch. So he's one of those guys that sometimes can stunt other guys' offenses. So I think he might be able to do that a little bit to Ponzinibbio by just constantly crushing that space and grabbing onto him and this and that and the third. So I'm going to say unanimous decision Ponzinibbio. I'm going to say that Ponzinibbio can't get Carlston Harris out of there, but that he's going to be able to pretty much stay away from the clinch, stay away from the grappling, and then dominate the fight and kind of win the fight on points. Maybe hurt him a few times here and there, and then win a unanimous decision. So, yeah, that's where we are. And then comes the main event. This is the second fight between these ladies, Amanda Ribas versus Mackenzie Dern. Their last fight was back in 2019, so it's actually been quite a while since they fought. Amanda Ribas is 13-5, 4 wins by knockout, which is not too shabby for a female, if I'm being honest with you. 4 wins by submission, 5 first round finishes. Her last fight was against Namajunas. She lost that by unanimous decision. No shame in that. Namajunas is, a former champion. Obviously, he's really good on the feet. Kind of annoys me a little bit because she fights very careful at times. And I think especially when she had that belt, I think she coveted that belt a little bit too much. And I think she lost a little bit of fan base during that time because she really shit the bed a couple of times with like the Carla Esparza performance and a couple of more that she had where it was just like, do something. But then she would go in there and knocked out Zhang Wei Li. So she also had performances like that. So not all is lost for her, but no shame in Ribas losing to Rose Namajunas. Before that, what's that girl's first name? Luana Pinheiro. Ribas beat her 3rd round KO TKO. Before that, she beat Macy Barber 2nd round KO TKO. And before that, she beat Viviana Arujo. She beat her by decision. And you got Mackenzie Dern, 14-5, 7 wins by submission, 6 first round finishes. You notice I didn't say she had any wins by KO. Did you notice that? That's because Mackenzie Dern can't strike. And it's kind of a shame, to be honest with you, because she has been in the UFC since, what is that? Had her first fight in the UFC in 2018. So 6 years that she's been in the UFC, supposedly, facing high level competition and still can't really strike. And I think it's just because she's so dominant in her jiu-jitsu game that she was able to just pull ladies into her world down there, and then once she got them down there, they just weren't able to do anything in return. So but the thing about it is she's lost her last 3 fights. The one before that, she did have a win over Angela Hill. That was a unanimous decision, but she's on a 3-fight skid. Mackenzie Dern's going to be trying to get back on the winning track here. And unfortunately, I'm going to be honest, I don't really see her doing that. Amanda Ribas has strong grappling as well. And in their first fight, really the tale of the tale was Ribas striking. Mackenzie Dern, Ribas is also a very, very good jiu-jitsu practitioner. So Mackenzie Dern wasn't able to get her down and keep her down. And that proved to be a problem for her because Amanda Ribas is a much better striker, much cleaner, better technique, better foot movement, all of the above, just better, tighter strikes. I mean, Mackenzie Dern is one of those that when she starts getting hit, I mean, she'll start just windmilling, just out of nowhere, and it just goes to show that she's not nearly as comfortable in the striking realm. I mean, she's a jiu-jitsu person. She's a jiu-jitsu player, and she's really good there. Don't get me wrong. If she is able to get Ribas down, she could possibly do something there. I mean, Mackenzie Dern does have a good rear naked choke. She's good at getting her hooks in. I've seen her, get on ladies' backs and then fall over to the side in an arm bar. She likes taking the back and then getting the choke from there. She likes to take the back, even if she's on the bottom position with hooks in. Striking has always been very rudimentary, though. She throws like a huge overhand right that's like windmilling. Again, their last fight was in 2019, and I think that if Mackenzie Dern couldn't get Ribas down and keep her there then, I don't think she's going to be able to this time. And if she's not able to get her down, I just don't see how she can beat Amanda Ribas. So, to be honest, I'm going to go with this being Mackenzie Dern's 4th loss in a row. I think maybe she can keep from getting finished because she's always got that kind of jiu-jitsu game, that clinch game in her back pocket. I think if she starts getting rocked too bad, she'll try to grab a hold of Ribas and try to drag her down. She's a pretty strong lady for that strawweight division. So, uh, you know, I'm gonna have to go with Ribas again here. Unanimous decision again. I don't think she'll be able to put Mackenzie Dern out of there, but um, it was obvious the last time these ladies fought that Ribas just had a huge advantage. Don't get me wrong. Dern's last fight, we did see a little bit of improvement in the striking, but it's just hard to make up that sort of level of striking, when you've only been doing it for, a year, 2 years, and then you still are practicing mostly what you're already good at, the jiu-jitsu. You can tell she spends most of her time practicing that. And she's just not on the level of Ribas in the striking. And I think unless she's able to somehow miraculously get Ribas down and keep her there, she's going to lose this fight. I think it's going to be 4 L's in a row for Mackenzie Dern. So let's go Amanda Ribas, unanimous decision. So that's it, guys. That's what I got. Appreciate you joining me once again. If you would, please do subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment down below. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you on the next one. Take care, guys. All right, peace.